Hello and welcome to the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm your host, Paula, and today I'm talking about business, how we should be running our landscaping and design business. Is there a right way to do so? And also about the worries about the economy at the moment, and should you be concerned, or how could you make your business survive said economic downturn, and everything in between, really. So let's get on with the show. As the founder of the Landscapers Circle and the Limitless Landscapers podcast, I am here to help you get more money, time, and freedom to make your life and business truly limitless. Through my experiences as the owner of a garden design and landscaping business, and through tried and tested methods, if you want help with the marketing, managing, and growing of your business, then you are in the right place. If you are a landscaper, garden designer, horticultural business, or a supplier to the industry, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show. Hello, lovely people. Welcome to this week's episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. How are you guys? I'm good. I'm recording this on Sunday, which is not usually what I do, but as it's school holidays, things have had to jiggle around. And also, I got a little bit inspired, not only from the response to my live on Friday, which was all about how should you run a landscaping and design business? Is there a right way or a wrong way? But also because I listened to an epic episode on Growth Day today, talking about making faster decisions and why. And it really resonated with me. And also it gave me the fuel to create this podcast today. So first things first, the live I did was really well received. So I just wanted to touch on that. And we talked about, is there a right way or wrong way to run a landscaping business? And I would say there isn't a specific right way or wrong way. There's just different ways that can work for you, and different things will work for different people. But there are a few elements that I think no business owner, whether you're in the industry or not, should overlook. And my number one, as always, is cash flow. If you do not look at your cash flow or run a cash flow forecast, then you are not making decisions from the right perspective in your business. Because for me, the cash flow forecast allows me to create growth within the business. It allows me to make decisions from a place of fact rather than fiction. And what I mean by that is we can all get bogged down in what we think is correct and what is really correct. So we can think we spoke to 20 people this month about driveways, gardens, and everything in between, but factually it could only have been 10. So unless you're tracking everything in your business, unless you're looking at the figures, then you don't know what is truth and what is fiction. So what's fact, what's fiction? And for me, the cash flow forecast just puts a lot of that in perspective. It's a great planning tool. So I mean, I wish I'd started it many years earlier. I think we were, 6 years in at least, probably, maybe 4, 5, 6 years in before we started using one. And it was recommended to me by a mentor / business coach at the time. And essentially, it allows you to work out what your break-even point is, which is a really key figure to think about. It also allows you to decide whether you could afford to take on new staff, new premises, new tools, etc., etc. So cash flow is really key for me, and I think it's something that should be cemented within your business as early as possible. But it doesn't mean just if your business is older and you haven't used it before, this could really be the point where you start making really well-informed decisions and not just going off what you think is right, really. And that kind of ties into making faster decisions, because sometimes we can all dwell on things. So we get, offered an opportunity, or you can see a really good job and you think about whether you want to go ahead, whether you want to take this opportunity, and you don't really think about it because you get distracted by other things in life. So you get distracted by running your business, or distracted by the next important thing. You get distracted by working in the business all the time. So you never really think about that great opportunity that might be out there, or that new business idea that you've had in your mind for many months, years, decades sometimes. So you're not truly thinking about it, and that decision just gets put off until someone either reminds you of it, and it comes back into focus, or you actually sit down and do something about it. So the cash flow works in that way, because if you do have a great business idea or a great opportunity that it presents itself to you, then you can look at that from a figures perspective, financial perspective, and make quicker decisions, which is important, because if you're not making the decisions, it's not there. You're not looking at that opportunity. You're not taking that leap. You're not doing something about it. So it really is key to making decisions quicker instead of sitting on things. I don't know about you, but I've done it loads of times. You have lots of things to think about. You get this sort of decision fatigue almost, because as a business owner, you're constantly making decisions all of the time, and it gets exhausting. You also don't want to make the wrong decision because you don't want to fail. You don't want to, miss out on things. So sometimes you can, make rash decisions. And I think sometimes it's just important to take the, whatever decision it is you've got to make, you've got to do it quickly. Otherwise it can just sit on your shoulders. You can feel a bit bogged down by it because you've got to make a decision on this thing. A really good example is whether you keep a member of staff or not. That's a really big decision weighing on your shoulders. Should you not? What's the pros, cons? There's a lot of thought and a lot of energy that goes into that. Really, you really need to make that decision quite quickly. Otherwise it's sat on your shoulders. Same as whether you get presented the opportunity for your business to grow in a certain way, where you're going to offer a new service, or you get the opportunity to get some premises. Again, you need to make that decision quickly. Otherwise it can just sit on your shoulders and you don't end up making any kind of decision. And sometimes the opportunity can just pass you by. So it's really key that we make some fast decisions, but also you want to make some informed decisions, which is where the cash flow comes in. I would then also, another thing in what, I hate saying the word recession. I don't like the negativity around that. But when the economy is how it is at the moment, cost of living crisis, the fear that we're being pumped full of by bloody MSM. I don't particularly listen to the news because I don't want to live in a fear-based society. I want to live in an abundant world and an abundant life. So I would prefer not to be sucked in and dragged into the fear porn that is out there that you can get dragged into. But I do know what's going on in the world, and you can't get away from it because other people are sucked into the narrative that's going on. So ultimately, as a business owner, you have to start making some decisions around how you are going to run your business should things go bad in the world. And personally, one of the main things for me, which is something I touched upon in the live on Friday, is getting clear on what client you're looking for. Are you going to continue to go for the $5,000 jobs, or are you going to try and get, I don't know, the 15, 20 grand jobs, or are you going to go to the 50 grand jobs, or are you going to the 100K plus jobs? Wherever you're at the moment, you need to look at whether you can up level to the next, bracket, I suppose, and also get clear on what's your ideal client. Who do you love to work with? Who are they? Really think about that, because where do they hang out? What are they reading? What are they thinking about this cost of living crisis? And, where will they be hanging out? How can you get hold of them? How can you make sure you're in front of them when they need someone to do their outdoor space or garden design for them? So it's getting clear on who your ideal client is. And personally, a good way to do this is I look back on the inquiry log. If you don't have an inquiry log, well, shame on you. You should actually always have an inquiry log, and you should have had that at the point of starting your business. So this is just an easy, it's a simple spreadsheet, and you fill it in with every inquiry you get. So whether it's good, bad, or anything in between, you fill it in with as much detail as possible. And most importantly, you find out where they heard about you. And obviously you can then look at things like areas, and also if you put the information there, what project value it is and whether they went with you or not. But essentially it's a place to capture all of the inquiries you're getting and where they're coming from. And this is really good, because if you get some really good inquiries and really good clients that you want to work more with, where you can start looking at A, where they came from, B, are they from the same area or a similar area which you can target more? What was the type of client? What was their job? Did they have a family? Were they a single couple? Were they retired? You can start looking at the demographics that you are clearly attracting and you want more of. On the inquiry sheet, you'll also be able to look at who you don't want more of. So you can see all the ones that you've turned away, the ones that didn't go with you because you're too expensive. We all have lots of those. And you can then look at, they are definitely not the clients you want. You can look at them as a demographic to make sure you are not targeting them and you are not hanging around where they are. For an example, you've probably heard me say it before, I do not target my business on Facebook. I have a Facebook page for brand awareness only. I do not actively target people on Facebook because I do not believe they are my ideal client. And this is through many years of looking back at said inquiry logs and seeing that no one from social media ever buys. So social media for me is a complete brand awareness place. It's a place to make sure my brand is there. If you know anything about sort of sales and stuff like that, a customer needs to be touched, and that sounds very strange, but they need to see you like 7 times plus now for them to remember you and to contact you. So for me, brand awareness is just as important as having, you know, the marketing plan around that will actually generate clients that I want to work with. So yeah, get clear on your ideal client and then get clear on where you need to position yourself and what you need to do around marketing. Another key point is do not stop marketing. Do not think you should stop your presence on social. Do not think you should stop doing any advertising that works for you, paid or unpaid or otherwise. Just do not stop utilizing the marketing avenues that you've got set up that are working. That's really key. A lot of people will do that. So many people in a time of crisis will begin to cut back on things. Now, the successful businesses and the ones that will survive will not cut back. So for instance, you will not cut back on your marketing if you are looking to survive said crisis, but many people will immediately cut back on marketing, they'll cut back on business coaching, and they'll just try and reduce their overheads as much as possible. Now, I'm all for looking at your cash flow and reducing your overheads where needed, but I seriously would question at a time like this whether you would A, get rid of your business coach if you have one, and B, get rid of your marketing, because these are the ways you're going to grow and develop your business and have the support there to help you. And these are also the ways that you're going to generate the clients that you need to get you through this period. So in my advice would be, do not cancel any of those and look at other ways to cut back if needed. It's also a really great opportunity at times like these. If you are, you know, quite a visionary and you've got big plans for your business, it can be a good time to actually start moving into those new markets. If it's a new service, if you are taking a leap and growing, and you've got some growth plans in place, then this is not the time to be scared. This is time to get on and get going. And what always has been mine, I'm very much a risk taker. So although I like to assess the risk, I will generally just go for it, because in my eyes, it's better to have tried and failed than never to have tried at all. So yeah, in these periods, it wouldn't stop me going for things. Another good thing to do in times like these is to look at your goals and your plans, because things can change. You can basically use this to change and pivot your business. You can then look to see if your goals are realistic for this year or not, and whether you need to tweak them in any way. You then need to look at other ways that you can achieve these goals with the support of others, etc., etc. So planning and goal setting is another thing I personally would look at going forward at times like these. And thirdly, well, fourth, I suppose, is looking at staff. And periods like this, the good thing in a way is you will hopefully will be able to pick up some good members of staff. So maybe they don't want to run their business anymore, their business failed, or there's just more of a pool of candidates. And I know this is a major issue in the industry, but at times like this is when you can pick up people that are very good, that maybe do not want their own business anymore because they're nervous, etc., or people are laying staff off, so you might be able to pick some up that way. So there are silver linings if you look for them. I think the most important thing to remember is your mindset, and being in a place of abundance and opportunity is much better than being in a place of lack and scarcity. Because if you're thinking of the negative all the time and you're feeling very like there's not enough work and the fear is getting to you, one, you're going to be highly stressed, which is no good for anybody, particularly your health. And if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to work, and so on and so forth. But it's not worth getting dragged into the fear. You need to keep your mind in the game, really. You need to remember business, it's all just a big game of life. We've got to enjoy it. We've got to have fun. We've got to push ourselves, develop ourselves, see what we can achieve, and really know that there are opportunities everywhere. There is enough work for everybody, and there is enough money in the world for you to have some of that. So it's being more abundant, and getting your mind on, in the game, working on your mindset means you're going to attract more of that good life. You're always in the scarcity mindset, you're going to attract that life. What you focus on grows, as I've said multiple times before. So if you are focused on the fear, the lack, the scarcity, you will attract that to you in your life. If you are focused on the abundance, the opportunities, then you're going to attract more of that as well, because everything's energy. What we put out there in the, in the world, in the universe, is what we get back. This may be a bit woo for you guys, but it's something that I have been working on a lot, and it does make a difference. So mindset is definitely key. If you are a TLC member, there's loads of topics to help you on all of this in the TLC membership. So there is a topic on knowing your numbers, which will go through cash flow forecasting, and there's templates in there to help you with that. There's a sales process topic, which will talk you through all of the sales processes, the whole touching 7 times, stuff like that. Lots of marketing advice in there. So lots of help with different marketing strategies, from lead magnets to trade stands to everything in between, really. And also there's a mindset and planning topic, which I think is key, because if your mindset goes and you're focused on the wrong things, that is essentially where you're going to find yourself. So this is a really important point, because you need to spend more time and energy getting yourself in the right frame of mind in order to attract the right stuff to you, than being in a hole of worry. And what I would suggest is turn off the TV. There's nothing good there. So yeah, I think get your mindset in the game. And if you're a TLC member, there's loads of support there. We also have our group coaching sessions, as you well know, where we can support you on anything like that. So I definitely think, a 5th point for you guys is to really get your sales on. We are salespeople. We are business people, we are salespeople. We have to make the sale in order to continue to have a profitable, successful business. So you need to get good at converting your inquiries into sales. And if you are not monitoring conversion rates, I highly suggest you do. It all begins with the inquiry sheet, but it's really important to see how you can generate more sales from the inquiries you have. Now, people have been saying their inquiries have dropped off. I agree. And a lot of them are poor quality, but it's nothing different to what I would expect at this time of year. Having done this for 12 years, it doesn't really change. You get awful inquiries at this time of year. The summer inquiries are rubbish. You get 1 or 2 great ones. And then going into the autumn, you get much better quality inquiries anyway. So I'm not concerned. I don't think you should be either. If you are doing all of these things to make sure your business is successful, profitable, set up well, you shouldn't be worried. But essentially, you need to get good at selling, because if you cannot close a sale, then you haven't got a business. It's as simple as that. You need to get good at selling. And I don't mean hard selling or, kind of the horrible, I hate to say it's like salespeople get a really bad rap. I was a salesperson in my previous life, and a very good one at that. And I never did it in a, sleazy, hard-nosed kind of way. So you don't have to hard sell. You don't have to lie. That's all myths. You can sell well as yourself, as your genuine, honest self. And there's a topic in TLC all about that. So how to get your sales pitch on point. And I say pitch, don't really like that word. It's more a process that you can follow and some tips and advice on that. But yeah, getting your sales conversions higher is better, because then if you are great at closing a sale, then you don't need that many inquiries, because you've got a high percentage of closing. So yeah, that's another tip for you today on the podcast. Do join the waitlist. If you do need some help and support with your business, then do join the TLC waitlist, because you'll be the first to know when the doors open to membership again later in the year. You'll also get a free guide of how to plan the next X amount of months till the end of the year. There's not many left, but we want to make sure we can achieve something by New Year's Eve. So that's a really good freebie in there for you, just for putting your name down on the wait list. Also, I do have something epic coming out very soon. So you need to watch this space. If this is the kind of thing you want help with, running and setting up your business, then I have something in the pipeline. I won't give any more away than that, but it's going to be epic. I have got a partner in crime running it with me, which is super exciting. And I will be slowly releasing some information about that over the coming weeks, leading up to what will be launch date. So if you've got any questions, do get in touch. If this has triggered you in any way and you feel like you need some help, you're struggling, don't just put your name on the wait list. Get in touch with me, info@thelandscapercircle.co.uk. If you've loved this podcast episode, please leave a review or a 5-star rating if you're listening on Spotify, because I do wish we could get into more and more people's ears. And that's my true aim, is to get into as many ears of people in the industry as possible, and also help you guys on your journey in business. It's a hard journey, and there are ups and downs, and there are economic crises every now and again. And we just got to know how to handle them and keep our business running in a profitable, successful way that feels true to ourselves, whilst being genuine, not taking our eye off the ball, not going into a different lane, and focusing on what works for us, because what works for you will not work for the next person. It's not a one size fits all type of thing. Yes, there are things that will apply to every business. Yes, there are things that apply to you in the landscaping industry as a business there, but what will work for you will not work for somebody else. So it's all about thinking about what works for you and, amplifying that, doing more of it to get more basically. So that's it from me today on this wonderful Sunday afternoon. But this will obviously drop on a Wednesday, so I'm probably confusing you right now. But essentially, have a wonderful week, guys. Do feel free to reach out, get in touch. I always respond. And yeah, follow us on Instagram at the Limitless Landscapers Podcast and at the Landscapers Circle if you don't already. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you next week.